Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's time for some more Star Wars New Canon Book Club.
Oh. Dude, we like slept in.
Did you just... Oh, you're waking up.
That's what I'm saying.
From a long slumber.
We like June. Remember we went to sleep June 2018, and then it's right now.
Yeah, we were like, we're not going to come out of hibernation until Star Wars is back.
I said I wouldn't do another episode until Davis was excited about Star Wars again. And like Punxsutawney Phil, here he is.
Yeah, I mean, I was actually excited
That's
a while
true.
ago. Solo. Do you know what really fucked me up about Star Wars?
What?
From a certain point of view, and that episode is coming.
Can we all just talk for a second about how
like,
that like maybe
that's
have
what
killed
did
this
it?
podcast?
That's what, like, it was. That thing is so bad. We were just like, all right, let's take 5. Like, holy
That's
shit.
really what we were planning the episode. We were talking about it. We were really excited, and then
we had 3 things done, and then we just like never did it because that book was so
It's
bad.
like euthanizing your pet. You're like, yep, easy peasy, you have to. And then you get to the moment and you're like, I can't do this. That's where I was.
It's truly, I don't know what that episode's going to be like. Our apologies to all of you.
I'm ready to go in. Like, I think that we're generally kind of tasteful about some stuff. Yeah, maybe I yell about Last Jedi, but like we're relatively like fair to books.
This episode is not about hate.
You're right.
This episode is about joy and love because
Everybody's hype about this.
not only are we coming back, not only are we officially here, and we're going to tell you right now, the next episode is going to be Rebel Season 2.
Boom.
And we have a bunch of other stuff coming up, but get prepared for that. And eventually we're going to have a episode that's dedicated to Fallen Order,
Yes.
to Mandalorian.
Yeah, and Vader Immortal. We're talking about the trailers that came out in celebration this
We're
weekend.
going to have a whole episode
That's coming
dedicated
really
to the
soon.
video gaming aspects of all of this and the Mandalorian stuff. But today, we're doing Rise of Skywalker. It is the thing that made everyone on the internet lose their mind.
Yeah.
It made me go and watch, I'm going to say 50 reaction videos, only the last 30 seconds of every reaction video, just to see people lose their mind.
Since this trailer has dropped, I have watched 5 Star Wars movies.
Really?
Yeah.
Did it hype you that much?
Look, full disclosure, I'm like pretty sick right now. I have a infection in my ear that is like driving me crazy. And so I've been on prednisone and antibiotics for a couple days. Prednisone is a steroid, and it makes it really hard for me to fall asleep. And so I just like go. And I've watched
Which 5?
I watched the original trilogy.
Okay.
And I watched Force Awakens, and I watched The Last Jedi.
Great.
And I am...
You're prepared. You're prepared to talk about this.
I am ready, bitch.
All right, where do we even start?
I thought I was like not gonna be excited about a numbered Star Wars again, just because of I was a little emotionally.
But of course
distraught.
you were always going to be.
But then I watched this and I'm like, we'll talk about it. I'm not like, oh, I'm just like, oh.
Yeah, Return of the Jedi. It's gonna superficially mend all the superficial wounds that may or may not actually exist.
This trailer is like, okay, but Last Jedi, this didn't happen. Okay, but this didn't happen.
We don't know that. We don't know that.
I know for sure that's not what this is. I know JJ's just not going to take
this teaser is intentionally, it includes, as we'll see, a shot of the lightsaber that broke, the helmet that broke.
Yes.
All these things, and it's called Rise of Skywalker. Like, this is a make good to people that were angry, even if that's not what the movie is.
I want to be very clear before we start this. I, unfortunately, had a long conversation the other day on a stream with, I'm going to say, 2,000 very hype Star Wars fans.
Oh, you
and
fool.
Something
Which
happened.
stream?
I just did a stream. I did a talkie stream where I was like, I'm hype about this. I have theories. And I just started rattling stuff off. And people hit me back with things that now I have stuff to tell you that my worldview is, I think I know how this movie ends. I think I've spoiled the ending for myself, which
Impossible.
I know it.
How?
I know this.
Wait, how? Like, what happened?
All right. Can I? Well, I'm going to save it for the end. Let's go to the trailer.
All right, yeah. Wait, first of all, are we going to, do we want to talk about the name of the movie up top? Or do we want to wait till the end?
I think we can talk about it up top. The Rise of Skywalker. What do you think it means? Anyone who's like, oh, it's the next version of Jedi, cute, but that's definitely not what it means.
I think that's a sweet idea. I think like
Skywalkers is what they
like
called.
we're all Skywalker. Yeah. I'm a Skywalker.
I think you really need to look at the wording of the title.
Return of the Jedi, Revenge of the Sith, It would be Rise of the Skywalkers is what it would be if that was
Right.
the case. And it's just not.
This is the Rise of Skywalker. This is
Yes.
like in my like darkest like how did this guy become the president moment of my life, I'm like wondering if really what's going to happen here is like
Kylo like becomes Ben.
like no, it's going to be like, hey, Luke is not dead. You know what I mean? But like cuz Kylo's not a Skywalker.
He's a Solo.
Yeah, he's not actually a Skywalker. His actual name
I mean,
is
only
Benjamin
in that like he's like a Skywalker by blood. Just
That's
not by
true.
name.
That's true. But I don't know what this is going to be. I don't know why he would be like, I'm not Ben Solo. I'm Obi-Wan Skywalker.
Well, as we learned,
Yeah.
Han isn't even a Solo.
Right.
Han is just Han.
That's true. But I just mean like I think the wording is very specific. I think it does refer to Kylo probably honestly, but like I don't know. It's the least common combination of these three words
Absolutely.
that I would have expected. I really didn't think that like the name is the thing that throws me off the most right now.
If we had to guess based on the lore of Star Wars, we're either looking at a Force ghosty situation.
We're gonna get a Force ghost of Luke. That's
For
the only
sure,
way he could be
for
in the
sure.
movie.
We're looking at something that could possibly be a nod to the idea of like what he was teaching people or his attitude about the Jedi, that kind of thing. And there's no way that it is like, and then in the end, Ben become. Although I can't say that because I know how this movie ends.
What the fuck are you talking? Okay, is this something that's gonna come after the trailer? What are you talking about?
Talking about the title. All right.
That's such a bold claim. I know how I spoiled the movie for myself, and I know how it's going to end. We see 2 minutes, and it's like nobody's talked. Just Luke.
Yeah.
And
he hasn't really like said anything.
I do have my thoughts. I'm sorry. We always kind of like talk about structure predictions. I do have my thoughts.
Mine is a structural prediction that ends with the fact that I'm just going to say this because it's going to color everything I have to say coming forward here.
Yeah.
In this trailer, the things that we saw, all this stuff, has nothing to do with this theory. It's just based off the fact that everyone was like, guys, it's the Rise of Skywalker. Ben Solo is going to become a good guy, and they're going to fight a bigger evil.
Supported by the fact that when it reveals the name of this movie, The Rise of Skywalker,
Palpatine laughs.
Palpatine laughs, but also it plays the major key version of Kylo Ren's theme.
It's literally his theme in a different key. And so everyone was just like, oh, this is his redemptive story arc. And so the conversation I was having with people was like, no, there's no way that he redeems himself as like, I'm a good guy in this, because he's too far gone.
He had that chance in Last Jedi,
Right.
and he was like, but no, like he's not. I don't want to see him
not
come
gonna
back
happen.
around.
No, he's bad now. He has to be.
But the joke that I made that now I truly believe is probably what they're going to do, which angers me. And I believe this. I really
this
do.
the spoiler?
Yes.
Okay.
It can't be a spoiler because you don't know.
No, he's
Potential spoilers.
Okay.
Guys, I've been to the future.
Yeah.
J.J. Abrams loves his callbacks.
He
loves
very much
them.
does.
And
One might say that his entire career is just calling back to other stuff.
yeah, he loves callbacks. And I was like, okay, what if all these things that people are thinking about, of course, Ben Solo comes back and they fight against this
Right.
evil, because the Emperor is the laugh at the end of the trailer.
Confirmed. Like,
Yes,
no
super
debate about
confirmed.
this.
He
Ian
was
McDermott
at the
came out on the
yes.
stage because this is something I've just seen online. I just want to address this. If you just watched the trailer, you will not get this. But I watched the celebration panel that happened where they revealed the trailer, and at the end of that trailer, the only person standing on stage was Ian McDermott.
And
And
he's
he was
like,
like,
"Roll it
roll
again."
the trailer again.
And he
in
did the Emperor voice, yeah.
Everybody was clapping. He was happy to be there. It's the Emperor.
So, because everyone was hyped about the Emperor and all this stuff, I feel like, and we'll get into this later, I feel like that's sort of like a red herring kind of deal. But I'm telling you, the way this movie ends, and you're going to think I'm joking, but I know this is true, is they recrafted his helmet in this trailer.
Yeah.
They brought the Emperor back for this trailer.
Yeah.
All this stuff at the end.
Kylo's going to kill the Emperor.
At the end,
If they
whatever
just
the
do-
greater
if
evil
they
is,
just do-
and Kylo is going to literally like throw the villain off a thing, and Rey is gonna be like, Ben, no, and he's like, let me see you with my own eyes, because he wanted to be Darth Vader so bad. In the end, he gets to become Darth Vader. I'm like the Vader that we all know.
Hate that.
I know you do. I hate it too. I know that's what's gonna happen.
What I think is instead is if the Emperor is not just like an evil Force ghost and he's like they clone him or whatever, I'm like, I almost want to see them try to do another Snoke throne room scene, except for the Emperor is a fucking baller and just like kills Kylo
Ren.
and Kylo is just as much of a disappointment to us as he was to his family.
I don't even think it's gonna
and then
be
it's
like
just,
that.
And then it's just, I think that Kylo and Rey are gonna get their shit done like in this trailer way before the end, and it's gonna be something else we don't even know.
Well, they did say there's two major things that we got from the panel. Everything else is garbage. We learned nothing. But
They can't say it. Well,
absolutely.
They can't say anything.
Absolutely.
Finn just talks about how he's a costume this time.
He may have confirmed that Phasma's dead.
I don't think so.
He was like, she did.
He was like too.
I know he was being weird, but like
he basically did the same thing that Chadwick Boseman did when he's like, I can't answer that, I'm dead. Like,
Right.
And I mean, you're just like, okay, all right, well, we'll see you in November.
But the
or
things
whatever
they
it is.
confirmed, the things that they said is that, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I may be a crazy person, this takes place 4 years later?
there has not
said
been a
sometime
confirmed.
later.
There's not been a confirmed time, though many of them have said some time has passed.
Like,
so this takes place very much
A while after.
Yeah, there's enough space for books to be written in. We learned that there is, according to J.J. Abrams, a greater evil. Whatever that means, it is so
it's the Emperor.
vague.
They said the Emperor's coming back.
Here's the thing. I don't know if that's the case. I still think the Emperor's a red herring in this, and I think we should go through the trailer and talk about stuff.
And we should also maybe go back and listen to the episode on Empire's End, Aftermath.
Sure.
Book 3 by Chuck Wendig, who...
Yo, Chuck, we'd
Chuck,
love to have you on.
I saw that tweet. You know we exist.
What tweet?
He was like, I would love Chuck Wendig to be on the podcast.
Chuck was
and
like,
he
yo.
tweeted like a GIF at us. I don't know what that means. I don't know what...
I missed this. What did he? What was the gift?
It was that
Just
GIF
like
from
a-
Kill Bill, the dude who like throws his beard over his shoulder. But we were like, maybe you could come on. I was like, I'll buy you a burrito. I don't know what's up. But if you're here, Chuck, we would love to
I would
have
love
you.
to
You
have a
have
chat.
friends here on the show. We're not going to gotcha with some like weird like
we-
MAGA-ass Star Wars
except
shit.
for Aftermath, we've been like so because those other two books are like
great.
some of the best Star Wars stuff.
And looking back on Aftermath 1, contextualizing the trilogy, it's like good.
Well, if we're going to talk about
I
Emperor
want to revisit
stuff,
that book anyways, just because I'm like, I bet I'll like it more on a second read now that I know all the characters and I'm like
Yeah.
excited to see where they
Let's
go.
let's get to the trailer. Let's do this
yeah,
thing.
I mean, if we're going to talk about Emperor stuff, I feel like having Chuck on, even though he clearly isn't in the loop of what's going on at the moment with this Star Wars stuff, he very, very much, I think with those 3 books at the beginning, the stuff with like the Emperor's like observatories and all the things he's
That is
doing,
this.
100%, I
That is
guarantee
this, bro.
stuff is involved because, well, let's just, all right, yeah, I'm going to just,
That is this.
let's get to this thing. When this trailer starts,
breathing. Just similar to the
it's very much her centering herself, I believe.
Yeah.
She's,
They all start with breathing. All 3 of the teasers have been
Yes.
someone breathing.
and isn't it
Usually
all
her.
Rey?
No, the first one is
Finn, yeah.
Can
And
we also, just for a second, we passed on all we know, Luke Skywalker says, but can we, just for 1 second,
The thing that wasn't in One Piece is back in One Piece.
the lightsaber? I just want to talk about something really quick, which is that J.J. Abrams has brought back every element of his first movie that was not in The Last Jedi. Rey's haircut is back. They are climbing on trash from the old movies in this trailer.
Her new outfit is so close to her original Jakku outfit.
The mask is back together. Really weird. Something to think about as we go through this trailer.
No, but really quickly, the place as it pans through this area that they're in, and you see all the different rock formations and stuff, it has been confirmed that this was filmed in Jordan,
Yes.
and that is where Jeddah is.
Jeddah's in Jordan. There are 2 minds about this. One is that they are going back to Jeddah, which would be really cool. And the second thing is that originally they wanted to shoot Jakku in Jordan. And so it's possible that based on what we know about observatories being on Jakku and whatnot, and the fact that somebody deadass asked JJ, like, are you going to undo what Kylo said about Ren's parents? And he was like, I would not do that to Rian Johnson, but there's more to the story.
So maybe
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know about that. That's why I think maybe it's on Jakku, but also Jeddah is like a Jedi world, secrets, the Book of Wills or whatever. That could all be there.
Also, remember what's there when it goes back to Davis's comment about, oh, her lightsaber's reformed. That's where the kyber crystals are.
That's true.
So it's very possible that the whole story, they said the main story is all of our characters for the first time are going to be together the entire time. It's every character is going to be together. They're not going to split up. They're not going to go on.
This is Indiana Jones, by the way.
Absolutely.
This movie is an Indiana Jones. Look at everybody's outfits.
Yeah, it's like Uncharted, which is just like it's exactly that.
I could like almost swallow like the Millennium Falcon on a map with like a red line. Like I could almost like
I feel like
get behind that.
It's just like the star map, and it just does that version of it.
Yeah.
I think the beginning of this movie is the hunt for the crystal to repair her lightsaber.
Oh, really?
And I think that it like, I don't think we start with it repaired.
I thought, okay,
because
you know what would be cooler though? Then this is just some of the gripes. You know what would be cooler than her repairing an old lightsaber?
Making her
constructing
new one.
her constructing her own lightsaber, like in Return of the Jedi. That would show a little more growth.
Okay,
but this.
In Return of the Jedi, Luke already just has it.
Well, because they cut out the scene where he's making.
Right. But that's what I mean. Like,
but it still illustrates.
Yeah,
a lot of
it's
growth.
cool. Yeah, I also
like his cooler new black suit also illustrates that.
Right.
Which unfortunately, her new white suit, it actually feels like in a lot of ways this is a step back. Even though I know that more time has passed and what she does to this TIE fighter shows that
some
she's,
people
moved on
also have mentioned, like you can see this scene right here that we're still paused on in the trailer here, is her belt, her gun belt is slung like Han's gun belt, which is kind of like a cute little.
It also just reminded me of like, you know, in Empire, Luke has like the cool pistol and the thing, which is always a hot look for. I love that.
Can I also just point out, like, how the hell did they recover this lightsaber? Do you guys remember?
Dude. She runs out with 2 pieces at the end.
No shit.
Yeah. Watch it again. She runs out with 2 pieces.
They are pulling on the lightsaber from each other.
Yes.
It cuts in half and explodes.
And when
then,
she leaves, she has both pieces. I don't know the cut there. I have no idea how she got them. But when she leaves with 2.
That is just crazy. But
she has 2 pieces when she leaves. I know this because I was in like a mood a couple of weeks ago and literally just watched the last like 20 minutes of The Last Jedi. And during that fight, as they're pulling, because I was thinking the same thing. I was like, how does...
That might be the only thing that I feel let down about by Rian Johnson in The Last Jedi. He made a decisive statement about killing the past in that movie.
Sure.
By blowing up Luke's lightsaber, taking off Kylo Ren's helmet, like killing Luke, killing Snoke. He made a really decisive statement about like, no, Star Wars needs to like step forward, right?
Except the Resistance then becomes the rebellion again.
Sure. All I'm saying is the idea that he would include also but then she grabbed both pieces of the exploded symbol that I made for the film and like ran out with them together in her hands. Is like,
it's good that they don't show her like,
gotta go grab those.
Okay. And there's one. Okay. And there's
that's
another,
a great.
Like that sucks that you have to think about that's what she did.
Yeah. Exactly.
I am hoping I'm not wrong. I swear to you, I remember it very vividly.
Okay, let's
continue.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what did Luke say? He says he's like
passing on everything.
Yeah, we're in the desert planet. Rey's got her new lightsaber. Luke says some sort of wise phrase.
Luke saying? No, he says
we've passed on all we know. 1,000 generations live in you now. She pulls the lightsaber off her belt. This scene is a very like direct. This scene right here is.
It kind of looks like a little bit of like a Leia / Padme
But this is your fight. Luke says, "What's the movie North by Northwest?" With the airplane. It's like a pretty close.
And then we get a very J.J. Abrams shot of this sort of moving camera as the TIE fighter, a TIE silencer flies by.
TIE silencer or TIE interceptor. It's a new design from the previous time. She's playing chicken with the thing. We see hands in the ship.
It looks very much like Kylo's.
It looks like it should be Kylo's ship, but it's not the same ship he had before. It runs her down. She flips over the goddamn thing. If she cuts it in half,
dude, she's gonna cut it. It's gonna crash, and they're gonna have like a little desert battle.
Yes. I 100%. That was my initial thought. Like, of course, they're going to have a desert battle, and it's going to ring back to something from Rebels, which you guys haven't seen yet, but it's going to ring back to that for any Rebels fans, which was like a very cool moment. And if that's the case, awesome. I'd be fine with them having to throw down in the desert, and it'd be like this is where I come from. If it's Jakku and she's like, this is where I'm from, and I'm nobody.
I think this is gonna be their big final battle. I think that like the finale will not be just Rey and Kylo fighting again.
Well, and so I've since then had two thoughts. One, you're absolutely right. That could be it. Two, that's like she beats his ass and then is like, I need your help because there's a greater evil. And
the Yuuzhan Vong have arrived from outside the galaxy.
And because they won't be friends, right? But I can see a movie in which they're not buddies. They don't like each other, but they have to join together.
X-Men 2.
They have to join together, and this scene that we got is not him trying to run her down. It's like training.
Yeah, you think so?
I don't think so. It's just like an idea that
maybe
Daisy Ridley did say that they will explore the relationship between Kylo and Rey much more in this movie than they have before.
I think it's
they did
quite
a lot
possible.
in the last one too.
Yeah.
Just like another side note too, because this jump is such a cool looking shot, and the fight between Kylo and Luke it's like how you extrapolate on what a Jedi power should do in a way that looks really
and not
authentic.
Just like really shitty, like yer.
The prequels have so many like awkward super jumps and
stuntman
flips.
moves, yeah.
And this looks like beautiful wire fu, like
I do
cool
want to say
stuff.
if there is one
and I love this.
I do want to say though, if we're talking about JJ and how he loves to reference scenes from older movies, like if there is one scene from Star Wars that scene looks like, it's actually the scene when they're leaving Tatooine. Qui-Gon and Anakin are there, and he's like, Anakin, go! And then like Darth Maul's like he's like coming on the thing, and then Maul actually does like a similar
flip off his
he like
speeder.
actually does a flip over Qui-Gon Jinn.
All I can hear is that terrible speeder noise now.
Dude, the jump flip attack is the coolest thing. Did you guys ever play Jedi Outcast?
Yeah,
sure.
That you could like shift jump in medium and do like I would just like do that all day because I thought it was the coolest thing.
The scene cuts from
desert planet,
this desert planet battle / training / whatever it's going to end up being, and we now see sort of like a mountainous world that is. It reveals a mountain city, and it looks very interesting. I'm not sure exactly.
So this is another.
I thought it was an A-wing on first read.
Absolutely.
And now, because there definitely is an A-wing later, and then now
and heavily in that leaked poster.
But you can't like really see it that well in this one. And then you sent me some pictures where people were theorizing it's the ship that dropped off Rey on Jakku, and now I'm like, I don't know what I think.
I feel like there is a flashback in this movie. Is that weird?
I believe that we'd finally get that, like, a story reveal of some stuff. I think there's also, again, I hope there's a flashback and or something resolved, because I saw this trailer and I was like, okay, cool. Where are the Knights of Ren?
They're here. They're right here.
So I thought this was a Knight of Ren, and then upon frame by frame looking through it and then looking at pictures of Knights of Ren, it definitely has similar in that it's like a sort of a melee weapon with a cool mask and stuff, but the colors look wrong and the like texture of the Knights of Ren's outfit don't look the same. It looks like maybe just like a local tribal warrior.
To me, this scene looks like so
their
real
weapons
quick. The ship flies towards a city in the darkness. That is the only shot we see of that.
It looks like a very populated mountain city, probably part of the adventure, I would imagine.
It's one of the only environments
like Star Wars version of like Aspen.
It's one of the only environments.
Yeah.
It's one of the only environments in this trailer that doesn't look like it could be somewhere that we maybe know where it is yet.
Sure.
If it looks like any planet in Star Wars, it looks like the planet where the base was in Rogue One.
That's my exact same thought as when they're going to get like Galen.
Yeah. But then we go to a forest scene, which is Kylo's favorite biome, I think.
That's where he always murders the most.
Can we make a shirt with like a little cutesy, and it's just like forests are my favorite biome.
Kylo.
Yeah.
Kylo Fen.
And it's just like him like holding like a twig or something. And
So
it's like a cross branch.
he gut checks. It's Kylo in this forest. He gut checks this dude who may or may not be a Knight of Ren.
Can we just say, for the record, not only is it cool that he slams him the way he does, but also I feel like this is J.J. Abrams being like, to everyone who wondered why cross guards, like who made fun of cross guards, this is how you use them.
Because all he did in the last one really was just like
poke him in the shoulder,
burn him, which was like that's like a pretty cool move to do to somebody.
Sure.
That you
he did
wanna,
some dope shit in that throne room fight though.
Watching him with a lightsaber
he's the best one
of my.
He is by far the best one. Him and Daisy Ridley actually both are really fucking good at it.
They're all very good, but nobody do I believe, even though I don't love his character, Adam Driver really makes Kylo
awesome.
this like compelling to watch it, like just
I was
force
acted,
of nature.
I was just about to say that. I think out of all these movies, even though I truly like hate Kylo Ren, it's because of how well he's portrayed. Like what a like giant piece of shit. And I'm like,
still watching
I
The
think
Force
I love
Awakens.
you.
I'm just like, I'm so happy the mask comes back because it really does a good job.
Absolutely.
And then it going from him wearing it to him not wearing it. The way that his character works as like a reverse Vader in that first one is like so JJ, like good job on that one.
Kylo Ren's great.
I loved him at the end of Last Jedi too. I think that's the best we ever saw Kylo is when he's like
when he loses himself to his emotions, like when he's destroying a
like,
room.
Shoot it!
I just need this movie to give me what Kylo really wants, not nebulously. Like what are Kylo's dreams? What are his plans? He is presumably the new Supreme Leader.
Clear.
He's had the First Order under his control for a couple years.
Yeah.
What are you doing with that?
Obviously,
conquesting.
it all goes back to that one black spot in the timeline. We still don't know what the hell went down between Return of the Jedi and Force Awakens. There's still a huge question mark there that has to do with what the fuck was going on with Rey, how does she have such good Force powers, and what is the Knights of Ren? And those things will be answered, I think, in this movie.
And again, let's go.
And maybe it just ends up being he's not doing anything good with it because he's like a dog chasing something.
Yeah.
Once he got it, he so badly wanted to be angry about his parents, wanted to be like his grandfather, that he never actually thought through what happens when you achieve that.
And here's something we've still not gotten from books. Again, if there is a book that tells this story, let us know because I'd love to read it
We'll find out,
immediately.
yeah.
We got a lot of books that
me and Davis are gonna actually dive into that just terror hole of publishing history and just figure out what we actually need to do episodes on.
The thing I think that's most important is at some point, I don't need a backstory of Snoke. I don't care. But there's the thread that's missing between Sloane taking the forces to the Outer Rim and Snoke showing up to lead them.
How did he end up there? Who is he?
There's that moment, like, I don't need to know like his whole thing. I just need to know that one moment of how does he take control of the First Order versus Sloane, who is straight up missing.
I just re-listened to our Phasma episode, and even in that, they're like, all they say is Supreme Leader, and we're like, we don't even know who is leading this right now, and the book doesn't even say who's leading it.
No one says.
About this scene and about whether or not this is a Knight of Ren, there was a poster that went around a month or two ago that looked really shitty.
It was very shitty.
It leaked. I think that if it was anything, it was like a proof for like a process of design, like what people are saying about the Sonic the Hedgehog poster leaks, where it's like, yes, it's a real leak, but what you're seeing is not a leak of the real poster they're going to use, but more of like a working,
like using other assets to just throw together. Like, here's what we're thinking.
Yeah, like if you look at the C-3PO with the Chewie bandolier in that poster, it looks really shitty and stuff. But the Knights of Ren are on the poster, and they look a little different than they do in The Force Awakens. And I think if this scene is here, I think this scene here is him gut checking a Knight of Ren and taking him down.
But there's a battle. There's literally stormtroopers in the background shooting.
Yeah, I have a theory.
I'm really. It could be, but I really think those aren't the Knights of Ren. I think this is just like.
I think this is
people from a different world.
I think this is them. I think this is a fake out. I think the red filter is fake. I think that this is on Endor. Okay.
The closest thing that if the red filter is real, it's like when Starkiller fired.
Right.
That's what it looks like. Yeah.
Right. But I think this is Endor. I think we're on Endor here.
JJ.
We know they shot in the forest where they shot Endor.
Sure.
So and we know that later in this trailer there is the wreckage of the Death Star.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that they are on Endor at the beginning of this movie as like a reverse version. You know how they did?
I absolutely believe Endor's the beginning of this film.
You know how they've been
100%.
kind of flipping the structure, like Crate is like Hoth, but it's the end of the movie, like stuff like that. I think this is that. I think the Jabba scene in this movie, and there's going to be like a solid, unified, sort of separate action piece at the beginning of this movie because JJ's going to copy Return of the Jedi again.
I think it may be because them in their like adventure gear, them in their like outdoor gear, looks like real fun.
Yeah.
And then they're like on their like barge being chased by what looks like wizards flying.
Yeah.
Did you notice that? It looks like Harry Potter.
I think they're
the first time I
jetpack
watched it, I was
troopers.
like, was that Harry Potter wizards?
I think it was a jetpack
Or just
First
like-
Order trooper, but yeah, I think that what this is Kylo fighting on the side of Rey and her friends, maybe not with her, but for some reason, and he's.
I wouldn't say that's the beginning.
I think this.
I don't think
I think this shot is part of a montage. I believe that they chose this to make you think it's Knights of Ren. I don't think it's Knights of Ren. I think that it's like they're gonna show like a conquest montage, and this is just a place that he takes down.
Going back to my original theory about kyber crystals, Death Star built on kyber crystals.
That's true. It's another
The
great.
opening of them going to Endor is because she can't find any. Maybe if that is Jakku instead of Jeddah, it's her being like, how do I repair this? What do I do? I don't
I'm
have
gonna be.
And they can
so
go to the Death Star and
disappointed
get.
if that's part of the movie is her repairing the lightsaber.
I think what she's doing. I think
It
the
happens
Emperor.
though. She has a lightsaber.
Right, but that can have, and that's already sad enough. Or it's like a Marvel trailer where actually she has her own lightsaber. Like,
And
have you ever
they
seen
edited it?
in Infinity War? They like edited out Stormbreaker. Like they do
Sure.
all. They changed his eye situation. It would be cool if that's a fake out and she built her own lightsaber. But I at least hope that if it's going to be a long time and she has new robes and she's learned so much about the Force that the lightsaber situation is already taken care of. Or the flip side, she's like taken Luke's training to heart or something and has become like gotten in touch with not the non-combat side of the Force, which is really like hardly part of the light side anyways when you think about it.
Yeah.
And then this is just a later thing.
Yeah, I'm hoping that what we do is we see whatever Jabba is to the as a villain of Return of the Jedi, like whatever relationship he is
Please
with
don't
being.
be that guy.
I
with
think
the
it's the
mechanical
Emperor.
legs and the
No, I think it's the Emperor.
I think the Emperor is
The
the
Emperor
Jabba.
is the Jabba.
I think the Emperor is the Jabba of this movie.
Yeah, the Emperor is
I think
the.
he's like a MacGuffin at the beginning of this movie
Absolutely.
who sends people on a quest to solve the problem of the Yuuzhan Vong. I don't actually think it's going to be Yuuzhan Vong.
So if you remember, the Emperor, his whole thing is like something way eviler is out there.
Yes.
And he's preparing
He's
for
trying
it.
to manipulate the galaxy in order to protect it from this other thing.
Right. And that's like, he's a terrible dude.
But it's like also for super selfish reasons.
Yeah, right,
because
He also wants to be the
When
boss.
he died, he threw a tantrum and killed people.
Yes.
Right. But he very, very, very much is preparing for whatever this is that's going to come take his stuff. Right. And so that's kind of. So there's many things
Do you
here.
think we're gonna get one of those? If we get a live action red
That's what I was going to say.
telephone screen, I will poop myself.
One of the
in it.
Emperor's
get
like
one?
Sentinel dudes. We got it in
No,
Battlefront.
We got it in Battlefront, which was super cool.
And we got it in the comics. And so there's two options here that I think are great. Is if they go to because if you remember, in episode 7, we talked about this during the episode 7 stuff, JJ, one of his ideas was that Rey goes to the wreckage
Yes.
of the Death Star on Endor, and that's literally in this. And so if she goes there, in my mind, I think you're right with the Jabba thing for the Emperor. The Emperor's dead, but I feel like either he is a Force ghost attached to the Death Star wreckage.
Yeah, or a holocron that's in his things.
A holocron, or he's one of the like Sentinel Red dudes, and that's what is the instigating, like that's the incident that starts their adventure.
Yes.
And makes them do the thing they do.
That is
and
exactly
so
what I think.
The Emperor plays a role in this, but he's not the villain. He's the guy who's like letting them know that all this petty fighting they're doing is so dumb.
Because there's monsters that can't be affected by the Force coming.
Yes.
I just would love the Emperor to dress down Kylo and just be like, "You are a dum dum," and Snoke
could happen.
was a dum dum.
It could happen.
If Kylo finds a Sith holocron, I think that'd be great. If he like trains with the Emperor, and the
maybe-
Emperor's just like, "You suck
Do you
at
think,
this."
You think Kylo's like development is like Force lightning, bitch?
It could be, or
That'd
maybe
be
they're
great.
racing. Maybe they're racing to the Emperor.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah,
Indiana Jones.
Like-
They're racing to the thing that at the end actually kills him.
that would be awesome.
Wasn't that already what they were doing in Force Awakens? They were the race to Luke Skywalker.
I mean, like he
Exactly,
was
that's
chasing.
what
He
they
was
would do.
chasing them, but this would be more like a around the world in 80 days sort of vibe, and less like we're running from the SS or something. You know what I mean? Like
Sure.
this is like two equals racing. I think this is. I think. I don't know what.
And again, I think it goes to in Indiana Jones as well. At the end, we hate each other, but we're teaming up for this last bit because we have to do a thing together.
I also think that's where Lando comes into this movie. I think they grab Lando to take him because he's the only guy who's alive who flew the mission.
Also, what happened to
Dude, he's looking. Well, we'll get
DJ?
The dude from The Last Jedi?
Yeah.
I think he just was like a lesson.
Was he? Did they even announce that he's in this
No.
movie?
And
No.
here's my question.
I don't think he will be.
Didn't we say like Lando would be the one person to come in and be like, slap, you suck?
Yeah.
If DJ fulfilled his role, putting him in would just be because you want Benicio del Toro. But it does not make any sense for that man to try and become. His whole vibe is to just not be part
He's
of
there
any of
to
this.
teach. He's there to be like a letdown. He's like there to be like a fake out Han Solo.
He's
for
like
Finn
what Rose and Finn needed
to see.
arguably to do.
I'm still not a fan of the Rose and Finn. That storyline is really
Right,
bare
but
bones.
I don't. What I mean
breaks
is,
my heart.
but what I mean
It's
is,
like
I think that's.
such
I don't think there's more to
not
DJ
deep
than
at
that.
all, and just his. Whatever,
I think that's. I think DJ's like a
I like that's
like a
fine,
god of chaos.
But because all that stuff was so bare bones, I don't feel like I got enough of his story to have like, oh, I have closure with him now. He was a bad guy who got money and walked away. He literally got I'm gonna say almost the entire resistance killed.
To me, that's true.
At the end of Last Jedi, there's like 12 people left in the resistance.
It's true. I think he's more like Bosk though. I think he's just like.
I get it, but what if, he's walking down the street and then Lando runs him over in a cruiser, is like, what up, everybody? And that's it. I'd be fine with that.
I'd be fine with that. I don't
That's
care.
like the end of it.
Lando will have my head for this, and then just like Lando with a lightsaber speeds by in the next panel.
It would be
him.
crazy.
Swipe.
It would be crazy.
And he's like, now that's what I call an idiot's array.
I cut off your head.
That's not his voice.
All right, let's move on from Kylo Ren in the woods.
All right.
Move on through the trailer.
But it is a sick. His like way of fighting is just
Okay,
very,
now
this dude has monkey hands.
Yeah,
Have you
I
seen
want
this?
to point this out. The guy that's
So then, the next image is someone repairing Kylo Ren's helmet.
You just didn't make us. You didn't have like backups.
No, it was his art project from college.
Yeah. This like the hot parts where it's being welded together
Yeah.
just reminds me of like the Iron Horde.
It looks it's like some
fire and brim. Like
it's like some like the second game that like nobody bought type
I'm
development.
like I wonder if it's gonna like glow when they're fighting.
It looks like it might, but like I don't think like it's so weird that there's monkey hands on it.
This
Someone was
helmet,
saying
his
it's
helmet
an
is like
Ugnaught,
so
perhaps?
iconic.
I think maybe it's possible that Kylo joins them halfway through this movie.
That's what I'm saying. I think it'd be foolhardy for
Could
anyone
be
to be like,
Chewbacca's hands.
No.
not
Could
even
be.
close. I think
No.
it'd be
Think about what that would
foolhardy
represent.
that Chewbacca is like he's
said,
losing
no,
all of his
just
fur.
think about what
Actually-
Chewbacca is to Ben. Just think about what their relationship is. Chewbacca killed. I mean, Ben killed Han Solo.
Chewbacca is his godfather.
Right, but Chewbacca like fixing his helmet for him would be like.
Except that it would not be because he says take off that helmet. There's a whole scene where Han makes him take off his helmet.
Yeah, why
So
he
he
would-
cannot repair it because that flies in the face of that scene.
Of
I
everything,
think it's
yeah.
I think it's bad that his helmet is being fixed. Maybe Kylo joins the thing that's not the First Order, and he's like, and this thing is like one of them, and like he's like
Wait,
their
what?
agent,
The thing that's not the First Order?
the real bad thing.
Or a thought could be that no, he's fighting with stormtroopers.
Like maybe
But Kylo,
one thing I could see is him leaving the First Order and just like piecing, and then the First Order like under Hux is just like aimless, and so maybe that's how they involve in the Emperor. They like are looking for some other stronger leader to lead them. I don't know.
I could see the First Order teaming up with the thing from outside the galaxy, which is not what the Emperor wanted, and this being like them and Kylo doing something, and then Kylo getting really badly burned by that choice. I don't know. It's just very fucking weird to me that there's monkey hands fixing this helmet.
I think it's weird that the helmet would be fixed to begin with, because the whole point of Kylo's character in the last movie is F the past. He destroys the helmet for a reason because it reminds him of the past.
Yeah.
So the recreation of it
God,
is a weird moment that I don't know what that means for this movie.
I really hope they don't shit on his chest.
That feels more like directors going back and forth than like the narrative needing it.
really hope that he
what I
doesn't-
hoped is that he just made a new. I love this look and I love the modulation, and it fit that he needed to break it because he was just playing dress up like his grandpa. But I think in his new, fully realized, again, costumes tell you so much about
now
character.
he's like, no, I am Kylo
It is
Ren,
a
bitch.
visual way to represent change and growth. And him having some new, slicker look would help sell that.
And it's
better
him, and it's
than
also
just him reforging it.
It's also him like, you know what? I thought I was a good guy. Actually, fuck that. I'm not a good guy. I'm actually Kylo Ren.
But then why wouldn't he have
this
a
also,
new...
we might be laughing, or not laughing, but like, what this also could represent is that he has Arrested Development. Like, Rey goes beyond him. They were pseudo equals by the second one. This could be totally intentional, and Kylo is just another character, and he's not really the big baddie. Like, we've always talked about it. Kylo doesn't feel like he's the big bad.
I think he's,
except for The Last Jedi,
he
thinks.
I think he is like the emotional fulcrum of the story, though. I think he's going to make
absolutely.
the choice. Whatever the choice is.
Yeah, he's going to put the helmet on, save Rey, and then Rey's going to hold him, and he's going to pull the helmet off and be like, let me see you with my own eyes. And it's going to be Darth Vader.
I don't like you when you talk like that.
You all
hate
think
this.
I'm bullshitting, but you
hate it.
know deep in your heart that's the end of his story.
hate it.
I'm going to stand up in the theater, I'm going to pour my soda on my head, and then I'm just going to scream at the top of my lungs and moonwalk out of the fucking theater. If that's what happens.
You know that deep in your heart.
Do you know what sucks?
That's what's
Do you
going
know
to
what sucks
happen.
is I don't believe it, but I'm going to think that until this movie comes
He's
out.
mad again.
I'm going to be like, what if Jesse is right?
What if I'm right? Think about this shit.
Monkey hands on Kylo's helmet.
All right.
Into Nathan Drake.
What's good is that, like, Finn looks older and more confident. Like,
Yes.
this is a good... He lost his, like,
Punkiness.
He just had like a youthful something, and he stands taller. I don't know, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but Finn feels like, you know what? I spent 2 movies loosely having the same arc. I'm not confused about what my priorities are, who I care
Right.
about, and this is now him just being like, pose.
And I think that was hinted at the panel, is that he has grown up, he knows who he is now, and I would honestly say because he gets to spend, between the last movie and this movie, time with Poe, that the two of them very much are like growing with each
Actually
other.
going to be bros.
Well, and
We saw that.
What's fun is
pic of
that
them laughing.
Yeah.
What's fun is that John Boyega talked about. He's like, I'm so excited to have my own uniform, this time, because his uniforms in the last movies were so important to his character. He wore stormtrooper armor that wasn't him. He wore Poe's jacket that wasn't him. Like, it's so key to him, and that now that he's his own person, I'm just like, he's gonna be so cool in this movie.
I'm ready for these two to actually not only have stuff
do you
to
watch
do.
them on the panel?
Yes.
These boys love each other.
The fact that they were just like,
touch
we
each
are in
other
love, yeah.
So it's shit you can't.
They probably
fake.
hung out.
I invited
They
John-
are friends.
I invited John
believe that
Boyega
all of them are
onto this
friends.
podcast to tell us that the two of them love each other.
Did
I
he-
want this to happen.
There's no way they don't. They're like they're like inside jokes when they talk. They like smile and look at each other. I'm just like, this is Empire, Luke and Han, but in real life.
I love it.
And I'm excited for that, because I think the chemistry they had at the beginning of The Force Awakens vanishes because the two of them never spend time together for the rest of the series.
It's true.
And I think having them back together and having that chemistry
they're like
on screen
back a little bit in Last Jedi, but not. They don't have time to
for like a moment.
They're like,
yeah.
tell it to me again, but shorter, and then like they're flying. But there's no, they don't have those like moments.
Yeah, they literally save each other's lives. And it's like a bond that I want to see infinitely more of. And so I'm ready for them to be like on this adventure with Rey doing crazy shit that is like, do you see this, dude? And then them getting in like shootouts and stuff. This is the adventure I want.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be the like Last Crusade of Star Wars.
This is the Galaxy's Edge, or I'm trying to think of like the role-playing version of this. This is the role-playing game version of Star Wars.
Yes.
A Jedi user, you have your pilot, you have your
like a party.
gun. Yeah, it's a perfect party for an adventure, and I'm so effing thrilled. I can't wait.
That was one of the best parts about Force Awakens, is how JJ was able to tap into the like just adventure and fun element of what makes Star Wars so good. And I think that whatever scene that takes place here, them on the ship, I think that we're gonna get that.
I think it's going to be fun, yeah. BB-8 and Dio doing some cute
this
stuff.
robot design just does nothing for me.
I like
it. Looks like a pod racer, like it should be on a pod racer
You're
track
absolutely
doing
right.
something.
I like his look. I'm like sure that once we like see him in action, he will be much more charming.
Sure.
I liked it like BB-8 was like the kid to R2-D2 that like they had like a cute little relationship, and it looks like maybe this is.
I think maybe it's just his like a kid who found a friend.
Yeah, I think
a
it's
trash
cute.
heap friend.
And I'm excited. I had my thoughts on Last Jedi, but I didn't love BB-8 in Last Jedi the way that, especially every time I rewatch Force Awakens, BB-8 is truly his like a real character, and I'm excited with JJ back at least to like see BB-8 become what I think is like a more of a character and less of like a fixer of problems.
I really don't like it when everybody's depending on the droids. Like,
Yes, that's
like-
one of the biggest issues with the second one. When
Attack of the Clones?
Oh my god,
Oh
when they're in
my
the
God.
facility and
I'm
he's
beside
like,
myself.
"Ooh,
Oh, dude,
no."
that's
Like,
the worst.
Oh, I hate
I like it better like the scene where BB-8 like just like takes a loop around the thing. Like, I love that. I love like when he gives Finn the like thumbs up. I love little bits like that. I really don't like it when like plot comes to focus on them, and
Sure.
I don't think that's going to happen here. Really, it hasn't really happened.
I mean, they did it a fair amount in the original trilogy in ways that made sense. R2's most heroic moments were like at a door.
Yeah,
turning the thing.
But the
Yeah.
hierarchy of like CG character and real character really
but then-
wasn't established at that time.
Especially with the prequels, they started doing like R2 was lighting things on fire and jetpacking, and then in the last movie, like he's in action, he gets into an AT-ST and like rips the. You're just like, no.
Yeah, that
stop.
stuff's a little that I don't like it when they do that.
Yeah.
Let the droids just be
I did
droids.
love the leak. I love the like trying to plug the leak.
The
I thought
bit
that was just
with the
enough.
bit with the coins was funny to me. Like of
Yes,
him
that
and
is
the little
a
drunk
that's a good bit for
him and the little
a droid.
drunk alien was really like that's like as much as I want to see the droids.
Yeah, that made no sense to me because it's not like he looks like a slot machine. It's like they just put in.
It was
slot
just
machines
funny.
there.
They
was
make
like
a
a drunk little
It was just
crappy-
funny. There was a little drunk
Yeah, it was
alien.
fun.
Yeah, like whatever.
That was like a fun moment.
I just don't like
Yeah.
it when they're. I don't mind when they're like clowning around in the background. I just don't like it when it's like, oh, watch out! I guess I saved everyone. Let's go. Like I hate that. Like he saved everyone. Like BB-8 saved the day in Last Jedi. That's crazy.
The less droid
Well, they
gun.
did it. They did it in other movies, but again,
Not like
it's
that.
literally just sticking them into the hyperdrive or a wall,
Yeah.
and that's enough.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I think the idea with Star Wars is the less you have a Gungan with a gun attached to his foot, and he's like, "Get it off!" and he kills like 8 dudes.
Yeah.
the
Oh
my
less of
God.
that,
Why would you?
the better. And I think that's the thing.
Yeah.
The less like goofy, like I saved the day by being an idiot. That's not the message of Star Wars.
Right.
There's no heroics in being a dummy who saves the day.
Right. And then we see Lando laughing in the Falcon. Chewie's there. This is good.
And he is wearing those clothes from
Solo.
Did
Yeah.
you see the meme? Did you see the meme that's like panel of Donald Glover like I will get the Falcon back, and then panel of Alden
Yes!
Ehrenreich like over my dead body.
And then
And
it
then
cuts to
him-
the blue line.
This is so good. Also, what's really funny is watching the panel with Billy D. Billy D is infamous for when he was doing interviews for Empire Strikes Back, he didn't know any character's name.
Sure.
He didn't know any facts. And then at the panel, he's like making bits. He's just like, everyone's giving him shit for betraying Han and them. And
He was
he's
like, "Did anybody
he's like,
die?"
Nobody died. And he's like, Vader got there earlier. I had to make a decision. I'm like, Billy, you have brushed up on Star Wars in
Yeah.
the years. You know exactly your character and his motivations, and that's what makes me so happy. Is that I'm like, now you care. This is you smiling because you're just like
He drank
I'm back.
the Star Wars Kool-Aid.
He drank the Colt 45, the
You're
Star
right.
Wars Colt 45.
He did.
He was like, JJ, we're home.
He has this laugh, and they go straight into hyperspace, and it says the saga comes to an end, which is like the moment that's on the screen, you have that realization, like, this is it.
This is how they're gonna end it.
This is how they end the Skywalker 9-movie arc, I guess.
Good
Crazy.
riddance. It is time to. There are so many more stories.
All
to
hail.
To
tell.
quote Kylo Ren, you know, like,
Yeah.
it's
I'm
time
ready.
to end this.
I'm ready to move on.
And then we get this really great scene.
This is the part. Look at the guys. That, we're
look
watching
like-
let's see if we
They're
can.
fucking wizards.
They look like
Yeah.
Harry Potter.
This is
Pausing
watch,
through
this
the
is second
trailer,
one.
and there's an explosion that goes off as Finn and Poe are being chased, and these guys fly through the smoke. They're like,
They're playing Quidditch.
hold on, let me see if
They're
I
on
can.
Tatooine. I hate it.
Those, if you look at it,
that's
That's a jetpack. That's a guy with a jetpack.
It's a jetpack trooper. This is on a desert planet. There's like these little.
It looks like moisture. It looks like moisture vapor.
There's there's antennas sticking out of the ground. This makes me feel like it's Jakku. Could be Tatooine also.
Yeah, my one frustration is that it's fun to introduce, and yeah, Return of the Jedi went back to Tatooine, but I wish that there was more new planets, and there probably is a whole bunch of this movie we haven't even seen yet, but there's so much desert planet in this teaser.
I feel like I don't mind if it's like to wrap shit up, but not just like another one. I really don't need there to be a fourth desert planet.
I would love
Baku.
Yeah.
If this was Jakku, that'd be the perfect way to. The books, the end of the Empire happens on Jakku. It is huge. The Emperor has a crazy facility there. That would be an amazing moment if that was like, we have to go to the Emperor's facility because that's Emperor who is in the Death Star sends them to the facility on Jakku. And it's like, oh my God, Rey, you're from Jakku. And then it's revealed that Rey is the Emperor's clone at the end.
I don't think she's going to be the clone. I think at the very worst, what she is a candidate for possession by the Emperor.
Dude,
maybe she was like, maybe that's why she specifically is on Jakku.
What I have to remind myself every time is that
kidnaps kids.
Our expectations and theories of what happened
are always wrong.
It's so much tamer in the movies. So what I really think is going to happen is it's like when anytime in a movie they go to like an old facility with like a faulty AI, I think that the Emperor, you're right, is not going to be a real presence. It'll be like a cracked droid with him talking to them or some weird thing. That's like my conservative guess is it's probably way less than that.
Right.
My wacky guess is body possession.
That's where I'm at. And we see a skiff that reminds me of Jabba the Hutt. There is definitely an A-Wing.
That's 100% an A-Wing.
On fire.
The TIE fighter of the Rebel.
I love A-Wings.
A-Wings are so sick.
Yeah.
But they seem to only ever be good for crashing.
And then we see these hands thumbing this metal, which confirmed is the metal from the Yavin
100%
ceremony.
is the Yavin metal.
I don't know who this is. I think it's probably Leia's hands, if I had to guess.
Yeah, because everyone she knows from that ceremony is dead.
Yeah.
I would imagine that's...
Except
Not
Chewbacca,
Chewie.
he's fine. But he
But
didn't
he didn't get a medal. He did in the comics.
Whatever.
In the comics he did.
That's not what she's talking about.
And then he gave it away because he doesn't need that.
Wookiees don't believe in medals.
And then there's a scene that I'm going to be real with you. I'm fascinated by the fact that J.J. Abrams basically said, hey, we have all this footage from episode 7 that we shot that we never used, and we're going to use that in this film. And I assume they're going to, like, the shot we see in the trailer is Leia holding Rey, and then it cuts to Rey crying holding Leia. And I feel like that's probably the Leia shot is her, and then the shot where you see Rey is probably someone else being Leia. But I'm fascinated by how they will edit this in. I would love to know how they...
I think they're going to flashback.
It looks like this was Leia really having a moment in Force Awakens after his death. Like her thumbing the metal, this hug. So maybe that's it. They just like have a send-off on their adventure, and then Leia, they just don't really
talk to her again. Yeah, I think that's also probably why Rey has her same hair.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you think to have it... Okay.
To make it make sense. Also, Luke says, we'll always be with you as
a little
Rey
touching
opens
moment
her eyes.
as she cries. There's a little tear that comes down Rey's eye, her cheek. And then we get a shot of all of our characters together.
Literally everyone, including C-3PO, who seems like he's going to be in this movie a goddamn
My question is where
Empire
the hell is
Strikes
R2?
Back amount.
But yeah, this is a great shot. And once again, Finn just like he looks like he's a man. He is like looks so good.
I think R2-D2 dies in this movie, man.
That might happen.
I think he dies like early in this movie.
Here's my question. This is fascinating for me. All of the outfits in this scene, are outfits that are dressed down versions of their full outfits.
Yeah.
Which to me means maybe this could be towards the end.
I think it is. I think the desert is the end.
But this scene isn't the desert. This is them on a cliffside. This is when it turns to reveal that they're looking at the Death Star.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then there.
Maybe they just wear these outfits the whole movie, and that's just how it is.
And then they put their jackets on, and because even his scarf, even Post's scarf, is missing from this scene. Which he has in other scenes.
Maybe they just all blows off them in the chase right before this at the beginning of the movie.
From the desert on the Endor
Here's
desert.
the thing. This really doesn't look that much like Endor.
All we know from Endor is it's just like a giant forest.
Like, they
moon.
could return to Yavin, for example.
Yavin Prime, not one of the moons of Yavin.
Yavin Prime, or they could just return to
Actually-
Yavin 4, where
actually,
the
this
other
could-
Death Star was, and is
we're
also
like-
a forest
We're
planet.
assuming that it was like the second Death Star, right? But this, based on its size, is smaller. It's not that big.
Yeah, we don't know.
This is probably the first Death Star.
It could be. I'm not going to say probably. I'm not going to like make that leap. Another option that this could be, other than it being that they go to Endor, is that they go to Yavin at some point in the
Absolutely,
movie
sure.
instead, which could also explain why they're shooting where they shot Endor. But I don't know. It just doesn't look very Endor-y to me. The like stalks of wheat, like the Gladiator Dream, it like doesn't look like.
But Endor wouldn't be like it was a forest moon, but it definitely has water on it.
But it doesn't have like.
What if it was just the planet?
Oh
Instead
yeah,
of the
yeah,
moon?
it was the forest moon of Endor. You're right. It's the forest moon of Endor.
But isn't Endor
this could
a
be
gas
Endor.
giant?
I thought Yavin was a gas giant.
I think they both are, aren't they? Maybe I'm wrong.
No, I don't.
I don't know.
Endor was-
I
don't
think it's
know.
I think it's weird that they were shooting in the exact same place where they shot Endor if they're not going to go there. But I don't know.
Right.
It can't just be a coincidence.
And
right?
of course, Luke says like no one's ever gone, and then we get our
No one's ever really gone. Hold on the
very
Death Star,
yeah,
Emperor
and then
laugh.
Emperor laugh.
And then
It literally in
yeah,
the subtitle says Emperor laugh.
confirmed. And
Confirmed
then we
Emperor. This is on Star Wars' thing.
Yeah, and then we see the title of the movie, Rise of Skywalker. Kylo Ren's theme plays, but it's in a major key, which usually means good.
Yeah, and that's what I think is interesting because then it pitches up too. At the end, it's very hopeful and joyful, and so I think the implication there is that maybe there is some light in him left. Who knows?
I think this is actually very telling. I think this last scene where they put Kylo's theme in a major key and they reveal the name of the movie, I think that's very telling. I think that
Sure.
I know he wasn't.
I just hate that it's going to end.
I
with,
think it's
let me see you with my own eyes.
Yeah, and he pulls
don't
off the
say that.
mask,
Don't-
and she holds him, and he
don't
dies in her hands.
Don't
as,
say that.
I hate you. I
As
hate
Star
you.
Killer Base 2 explodes.
Don't say Star Killer Base 2. Don't say that. Don't say Star Killer Base 2. Don't say let me see with my own eyes. That cannot happen. I've read The Secret. We can't will this into existence.
Then like George Lucas comes out and is like, "See, I told you it rhymes." And JJ's like, "See, this time I didn't just copy because that's all I can do. I copied because George said I could."
J.J. Abrams did work closely with George Lucas in this movie because of the Emperor situation. Isn't that weird?
It's weird because Disney's reign is what has given the Emperor this whole new, what seems like very, if not thought out, at least everything references the same plan. So it's weird that he would need George Lucas for the Emperor when this whole plan is
How
for
do they
Disney.
explain this to somebody who only has watched the movies?
Well, I feel like this is...
That's why I think it's going to be so much less than what we think.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
All of the machinations of the comics and the books. What did it yield in Last Jedi? A fucking compass off screen in Luke's room. That's all it translated. It was distilled down to in the movie. I think that's telling. I think that we think this shit and it's just not. It's just
I don't
not
know.
gonna be that.
If it's the time for big, crazy moves, it is this movie. There is no other chance.
Look, we didn't expect at the end of Solo to see Darth Maul. No one expected that.
Yeah.
And that's like straight from the books, and comics, and TV stuff.
Yeah.
So who knows? I will say, though, if there's one thing they will do that people will understand, it's that Kylo Ren wants to beat Darth Vader so bad, he finally gets what he wants in the end. He saves the day and dies. The end. Period.
Let me just...
I'm just like, that's the most simplest. It makes me upset to know that I'm right about this.
Let me just...
Y'all, I'm so
I want to
sorry.
say I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't want it to happen.
I don't want to be your friend anymore.
But I would be fine with it. I would be fine with it. The one thing that is like the thing that would just crush me in this movie is if they really do
Save him and have him be a good guy for an hour and a half.
No, if they
I'd be pissed.
if they really just like diss The Last Jedi.
Oh, I would equally be mad about that.
Like they can't just have the movie be made and then make another movie that reverses it. Like that's
how I felt about Last Jedi after Force Awakens.
not like direct things.
They were, dude. They're
resolve
like
it.
Snoke. You want to know about him? No.
But
Rey's
but
parents,
there's still a movie. There's
nothing.
still another movie. My thing is, my point is like we can still learn about. There's definitely some sort of black hole in this story.
There's at least 2+ hours of information we can get in this film.
But taking things that happened in other movies and being like, actually, the opposite is now true. That, like, to me, like, that's like a director to director, like, diss that's like from a meta angle outside of the story.
And I don't think J.J. Abrams would do that. He's in fact said he wouldn't.
Yeah.
That's basically like what happens. You guys see Shazam yet?
Yes.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, spoiler, there's like a kid smacking a Batman and a Superman action figure together, and then when Shazam flies into screen and does some cool stuff,
He drops
the kid
it.
like just drops the toys and is like, yeah, that's like that. That is like an F you.
I like hate that. Like it's fine in a movie like that. Like Shazam's not going to go down in history as like a movie that people care about, really, the way that like the 9th Star Wars movie that finishes the saga of the Skywalkers is. And so for me, like I really hope that if they do, like, you know, take the stories in a different direction than what Rian Johnson was trying to do, that they at least do it in an intelligent way. I just want to be clear. Like, I'm fine with it diverging or whatever. I just don't want this movie to like wink at the audience and take a shit on The Last Jedi. I think that would be the worst thing this movie can do.
Sure.
And I don't think that they seem to, especially under Disney's care, they seem to be very loving of everybody that's been involved in Star Wars at all.
And honestly,
They still,
everybody
like
seems-
Hayden, George, everybody is still treated very nicely. So I don't think they would do that.
And they still, like, it seemed like Celebration was really into The Last Jedi. Like, there was not like a big hate thing going on.
Nope.
Like Kelly Marie Tran got like the biggest applause of anybody.
Standing ovation.
Like, I feel like the powers that be were happy with that movie as a movie, at least. You know what I mean? Like, whatever, like, people's opinions of the movie as watchers is like, whatever. The movie made a bunch of money. Like, I think like Kathleen Kennedy liked the movie. I think JJ liked the movie, and I don't think there's like
I actually think the opposite. I think that they, before it came out, they everything about the pre-release, they were like, this one is going to be the best one anyone's ever seen, and loved it. And some people feel that way about it. Others don't. But you can tell with Solo and the things that they were planning, they thought that it was going to launch it into a new level of stardom, that they were going to be able to do multiple films a year. And notice like how after we watched Solo, we're like, they're going to do all these things, and they have been completely quiet. All rumors of other spin-offs.
Well, I think that's less.
No one knows
I think
what
that was
happens.
more on Solo than Last Jedi.
I think that it has hurt the fan base in a big way, and they've had to completely readjust big picture plans.
I
But
can
really don't
agree.
think, I don't really think that's on the movie though. I think that's like on the political climate and like a lot of different things.
I think there's a ton of factors.
The movie is what caused that, regardless of whether or not the movie is its fault.
There was literally
Before the movie came out, there was a lot of things that Rian Johnson said online. There was a lot of things that the actor said that in the current world we live in, people went into that movie looking for reasons to hate that movie. There's so much going on that I feel like, while you can not like The Last Jedi, and that's fine. Like, I do not like some of the prequels at all, period. And you can, like, not like certain movies. I feel like the climate of the world at the moment, when that movie came out, it became, like, fun for people to destroy that film to the point where when Solo came out, most people were like deadened to Star Wars.
I was hurt about just like I feel like that movie didn't lose because it was bad, but because people were tired of hearing about Star Wars.
Absolutely. And so people didn't want to go see
I
it.
still maintain Solo is the best of the new films.
It has nothing
easily.
to do. Yeah, it has nothing to do with the movies, is what I'm saying. Like the movie itself was great. It's just literally like
were tired
it was
of
a
Star
failure
Wars.
because like some bad shit happened separate from the movies. And and to me, I think like giving that movement a voice in a big way by like doing, I think that would be the wrong message to send. But I don't know. Like we obviously don't know enough about the movie to like make judgment calls right now. I just like, for me personally, I really hope that this is true to the entire arc of the sequel trilogy.
And I think everything that happened in The Last Jedi,
It's really all I want.
you can easily include all of that in this film and not have to like explain it away. You can add to what happened and what occurred.
Yes.
And even if JJ's like, I do need to retcon some of that shit because that was crazy, you can do it in a way that doesn't blatantly make it obvious that you're changing a thing. Like you can, and it doesn't
you
have
don't
to be
want it to be like a roast like that is part of the movie.
right.
Yeah.
And more importantly, there doesn't need to be a scene where someone's like, Kylo lied to you, Rey.
Yeah.
Your parents were. I'd be fine if she just still was nobody.
Actually, that shit's baked into Star Wars, though, because Obi-Wan had a scene where he's like, well, from a certain point of view, you know, I didn't lie to you.
Yeah, but that was like an indie film that became famous versus like the first time there was ever
But
like
also-
a movie with that.
But
much
also, I think
expectation.
that there's a different, like, to say, hey, I lied to you, your parents were like, you're a Skywalker something, I think is dumb. But to be like, you are, like, you were made, I think is much, like, your parents
were
were
nothing.
no one, yeah. You were
but
made.
you don't actually have force powers. Yeah.
That would be, I think that would be like an interesting take on shit, because that goes back to even when the Emperor was like, oh yeah, I see his thoughts, and he's like gonna kill his enemy, and they killed him, or not Emperor, but Snoke, and he killed him. I think it's very, you could equally say that like when Kylo goes into the Force himself and is like, yeah, no, I've seen your family, you don't, like, they're no one.
Yeah.
Literally, it's like there's no one there. And then he's like, they were drunk traders. They were nobody. It doesn't matter. And so by saying they're no one, she could literally have been created.
Yeah.
New thought. Just new thought.
Midi-chlorians.
He's not lying about that they sold her for drinking money to whatever
Empire,
is
yeah.
on Jakku that might be running
Yes.
tests. It's like she's like a baby version of Logan. Like, and this
Yes.
is them figuring out, like, actually, and it would explain why she has these powers. Maybe she like failed out of this weird program or something happened and she was just discarded
She, like,
on
X-23'd
Jakku.
out, yeah.
But they were just like, maybe they were just like, well, let's try using weird Sith sorcery or however they rationalize it in this movie on kids. There's a precedent already in
Because he
the
wants,
universe.
the Emperor wants kids.
Yeah.
And
Knights of Ren.
and then she just didn't make the grade or got out because one person had compassion and let her out. But like that would be a cool thing to go back to.
I think it's like dangerous territory. I think it's weird to like make her like a weapon of the Emperor. I think that's like a lot and like a big complication for her story wise. But like
that would be
that's
that
a
would
way
be
to
cool,
do
though,
it. But that's a
because-
way to do it at least. Like I can criticize the movie after it's out, but like that would at least be a way to do it where it's not like the equivalent of like Boba Fett landing on the skiff, taking his hat off and being like, actually, Luke, it's me who is your father. The Darth Vader is a liar. I will save you. Like
everyone's like, no, I am Spark. I'm your father.
yeah, I think,
And that's why it's Rise of Skywalker.
I think that's all it
because
is.
we all Skywalker.
We're all Skywalker. That's right.
I just hope that it resonates. I hope that it all comes together.
I feel like if there's one thing I can trust J.J. Abrams on, it's the fact that, like, no matter what, he knows it's the last Star Wars movie, and he knows that he is attached to the last Star Wars movie, and because he's such a massive fanboy of this stuff that he literally made a movie that was Episode 4,
Yeah.
I feel like
I think
he
that movie
gets it.
That movie is the like Game Boy Color remix of Mega Man X 1 and 2.
Whoa.
That's what it is. It's like a remix of.
deserves more credit.
No,
the
it's a fun movie.
It's the bones of A New Hope with aspects of Empire and Jedi spliced in to subvert your expectations.
Right.
And I think this is a film that no matter what it is, at the end of the day, he's going to create something that he can literally be like, this is the last Star Wars movie.
It was like so necessary for, even if it wasn't JJ, anybody to make the Episode 7 needed to really remind everybody of what classic Star
Because
Wars
of
felt
the
like.
prequels.
Because the
prequels
prequels,
sucked. Yeah.
they just are objectively not good. You can like them or not like them. You're right. I shouldn't say objectively, but there's merits to them.
They're a neat,
I do not
they're
like
a
them.
neat-
They
they're a
don't
neat
hit-
idea that is inelegantly executed.
You're right.
At best.
It's George Lucas who had the first spark without the correct support
He had
structure.
he had a crazy bold idea to be like, well, if the original Star Wars were based off these, what if the older time is based off older stuff, like tonally and visually and like thematically?
Well,
I
and
get it. He just didn't do it well. That's
Yeah.
it. Like,
Well, but if you look at the original trilogy, sometimes to do something big and right, it takes like just the right puzzle pieces.
Yeah.
And he was surrounded also by the right
In the first
structure,
three,
especially
yes.
for the first two. 3 is when it started to get a little bit weird.
Gotta
but,
make them
but he
Ewoks.
was
Three
was
is
just
the worst.
surrounded by yes people for the prequels, and so even the good stuff we've talked about, like Obi-Wan Noir, like. If you take a step back and look at what he was trying
was
to do,
doing it.
that shit is like actually pretty cool. Like a noir about how the Jedi are getting played is a cool concept. It's just like you said, inelegantly done. And
They never answered that, by the way.
Yeah.
and his
Who the
and
fuck-
him,
what happened?
His leaning on technology is what made the original trilogy explode. That shit was next level.
Yeah.
And he just was too early to digital, and it just, unfortunately, It doesn't age well, and it didn't even age at the time well, and it sucks.
Yeah.
But
here's hoping it's good.
Yeah, for 9, I think that's my hope. No matter what happens, it will be good because I think everyone involved cares enough to be like.
I care more about it being good than what my expectations are.
Absolutely.
In my like shitty, jaded mind, I'm like, okay, I don't love J.J. Abrams, and I think that he especially doesn't know how to end stuff well. But at least he is going to be the person that's going to end what he started.
Yes.
And Force Awakens, if you watch it, that is just all it does is ask oh, what's this? Last Jedi kiboshes several of them, but it will be nice
It
for him.
tells you which questions were the
I was talking
important
to
questions.
Schroeder about this today, just like there will probably be a fan cut that just makes it a duology. You will take Force Awakens, splice in key Last Jedi scenes, and take JJ's The Rise of Skywalker to make one like 5-hour whole story.
That upsets me.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
I'm so glad that people are out there
I'm fine with it.
figuring out how to cope with a movie coming out, but I think
That is like a roast, a very subtle roast, and I love it.
I think
Or it's like people just trying to make a trilogy feel like it's really one voice,
I
one
just think
story.
people should look at what people are trying to do and then judge the final product along those terms.
We literally
The
know
Wii-
nothing.
it's the
We
Wii
know
U-
nothing about this film,
Last
really.
Jedi is the Wii U of Star Wars movies.
That's and someday we'll all remember
No,
that.
but seriously, I have a couple red flags for this movie, but I'm excited. I'm not too excited that it's gonna like not live up to what I want. I'm excited enough to be like, all right, JJ,
Let's
what
see
have you
what's
cooked
gonna
up?
happen. Yeah. I'm ready to be just like I will enjoy myself if it just makes me shit myself.
I'm ready for the next trailer.
Yeah, I'm also ready for the next trilogy of movies that has nothing to do.
That's
with
going to be a ways
Skywalker.
off.
Give me that Benioff and Weiss. Give me that Ryan Johnson. Give me that.
If they give us a trilogy that is like 5,000 years later,
That's like what they're saying. They're saying both of those
That'd be
trilogies
great.
are in distinctly different
And
time
they
periods.
they've come out and said, right, the Ryan Johnson trilogy is still happening.
It's
Yes.
happening, and the
Both trilogies
Benioff
are
and Weiss-
happening.
Here's the thing. I don't love him as a filmmaker. I don't like Last Jedi, but I'm like, given your own universe, your own time
The Last
frame, your own
Jedi is
characters,
beautiful.
Can we talk about also just like Brick and like the brothers Bloom and Looper? Like the dude makes like if he's
I don't think Looper is a very good
like
film.
if it didn't have the chain to like the expectation of like it being about Luke and stuff like that, like I think the way that Ryan Johnson told a Star Wars story, like the way he chose to tell it was really interesting, and I think like that's going to be good movies. I think Benioff and Weiss are going to make good movies. I just hope it has nothing to do with this. I want to see other things in Star Wars. And more than anything, really, I'm just happy to be free. I'm happy to like let this movie let us free.
Sure. Because I think that was the fun of the original expanded universe, is that there were only 3 movies.
Yeah.
And you were free to do whatever you wanted.
It was so
That's how
great.
we
The
got
Mandalorian
Thrawn.
is going to be so cool.
That's how we got Thrawn. That's how we got like these crazy weapons.
Oh my
that's
god,
how
the
we got
Sun Crush! Like you got crazy stories.
Yeah.
You got a whole Lando trilogy. Like they
a
gave us.
TIE fighter with 3 things.
yeah.
The Yuuzhan Vong who are immune to the Force and love pain and come from outside the galaxy.
Like all this fun, crazy stuff came from the expanded universe that was like, we are not confined. And the one thing that you can see for sure is when you're confined to the little tiny bit of stuff they give you, you get Aftermath 1. And when you're set free, you get Aftermath 2 and 3.
and when you have nothing at all, you have Phasma.
Yeah, when you're not allowed to tell anything, Phasma.
Yeah. Let's get out of here.
All right, well, that's it for us. Thank you so much. We're back, baby. Things change, but things still stay the same.
Yeah.
And we are
No
good.
one's ever really gone, guys.
Yeah, no one's ever really gone. We're back.
And like Luke famously says, keep your friends close and keep your
damn it.
droids closer, baby!
I was hoping you would forget about that.